Hey everyone, welcome back to another unboxing. As you can see, we've got a lot of stuff today, both big and small. I recently took a 10-day trip to Japan where I went to several places in Hokkaido over 7 days and then rounded out my trip with 3 days in Tokyo where I got all my figures from. I'm really excited to finally unbox these as I've actually had these sitting around for a little bit. I just haven't really been able to find the time to just record and unbox everything. These are going to be a mix of figures that my wife wanted, figures that we got new and used, and also figures that I want from Crane Machine Game. So enough of that, why don't we get started? So first up, we have these two variants of Albedo in the Aquafloats Girl line, which are ones that my wife got. She loves Albedo along with Trafalgar Law, so we'll see some figures of him later too. But in any case, we got these on discount because these aren't brand new, but they are unopened, and it is a prize figure. We got the purple one for 1280 yen from Rashinban and the yellow one for 1500 yen from Ami, both in Akihabara, which comes out to be around $18 in total. Overall, I'd say this Albedo figure is a great deal for the price we got. Let's be real. It's good because it's Albedo in a swimsuit. There's not much to say about skin color quality. It's fine. The hair is just enough texture to not seem too cheap with purple shading at the bottom. The face is passable enough that you could tell this is Albedo, especially with their iconic horns. I'd say the stand is probably the second best thing with a I Love Ainz floaty and a watery stand. And so yeah, so here's the other variant. The main differences being the yellow ring donut and also her bikini is black instead of white. There's actually this scrunchie or something on her leg that is actually way more visible in this one. In the other one where it's white, it's almost too close in skin color that at least from far away, it's definitely not noticeable, and I actually forgot about it while making this voiceover. I found this out while making this video, but I think there are actually 3 total variants, so don't tell my wife that. It means we're probably gonna have to go get it. So on to the next set of figures. We have the first of 4 Trafalgar Laws. This first one under the Banpresto Grand Line figure series we got from Rashinban again for 1280 yen, and also not brand new but unopened. This figure comes in a couple pieces where assembly involves putting both his hands in to get a sword and also his attack effect. Again, for a prize figure, I am really impressed by how it looks. It is a bit small, but I think there's enough attention to details such as his chest tattoo and the texturing on the feathers on his cape. His face is good enough with them highlighting a bit of his faint shadows under his eyes. I feel like for me, the face really makes or breaks the figure, so that'll be all of my reviews. That being said, you can tell that this is a prize figure, mostly because of the paint job. It does seem a bit unpolished or inconsistent in some areas like the cape, but even then it's not that big of a deal. I think what will be interesting is to compare this to the next figure, which is actually the female version of Trafalgar Law. I actually forgot where and when this happens in the anime, and I can't even remember how many panels there are of him as a female in the manga. I think this one's actually pretty plain compared to the previous one, and honestly only special because it's the female version. I'm guessing we weren't the only ones who got it because of this, so Banpresto is definitely milking it for what it's worth. Again, like the previous figure, you can tell it's a prize figure because of the quality on the cape. On the one we got, there's this small line or crack and some artifacts on it. Again, not a big deal. You probably won't notice any of these things unless you really pay attention, and it's all in the back, so definitely very easy to conceal and hide. Overall, very solid for these 2 prize figures. Moving on, we have another Trafalgar Law prize figure, this time under the King of Artists line. This is actually the first of a couple figures that I won from playing Crane Game Machines. I don't remember exactly how many tries it took, but I want to say this ended up costing me around $25 to $30. Anecdotally, these tend to have a slightly higher quality and look to it compared to the Banpresto Grand Line series. I actually have several other one-piece King of Artists figures, such as the Law Jeans figure and the Luffy Gear 4. In terms of the attire and look, it's very similar to the female Grand Line one we just saw. Law is sporting a white tank top, except this time his sword is hung on his back. On first look, they add texturing to more places this time, such as his cape and his hat. They've also gone ahead with sculpting some biceps and forearm muscles, which is a nice added detail. One thing I didn't mention about the previous prize figures is the stand. This one is very minimal, which I like very much. The Grand Line series figures usually have this huge oval black plain base, whereas this one is very minimal but just enough to keep them stable. So yeah, I absolutely love this figure very much, especially because I want it from a Crane Game Machine. That always will make it extra special for me. Cool. So finally, the last of the Trafalgar Law figures. This is Law in cat form, donning similar attire to the first Law figure from the raid on Onigashima. We got this one from Ami in Akihabara for 35.50 yen or around $23. My wife was actually debating on also getting the Luffy one, but ultimately decided not to for the sake of our luggage. The box is pretty nice and simple. You can easily see a preview of the figure, and the plastic shell made sure the cat survived the flight back home. It's very cute and simple. Besides the top of the cape, everything is pretty much a smooth texture, nothing too complicated. If you've seen any of my previous videos where I've unboxed figures from the Mega Cat series, this one is definitely much larger compared to the rest of the cats, both in width and height. Here, we can see a side-by-side comparison of the two released log cat figures. Definitely much larger in comparison. So yeah, here's all of them side by side. You can see the King of Artists one is about 1.2 times the size of the other prize figures. And of course, the cat just stands out. All right, next we have the first of two Data Live figures, both of which I won from Crane Game Machines. This first one is from Taito, featuring Tokisaki Kurumi in her spirit form dress. I am really excited to unbox this because I've been seeing this all over stores with a wide range of prices going as low as $10 to $35. So I was a bit skeptical over the figure quality that I was going to get. The box seriously makes the figure look so nice, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be baited or something. However, once I got to see a preview of it and then saw it at a Crane game, I thought, yeah, let's try to get her. So yeah, I did get baited. Anyways, on to unboxing. I was really surprised to see at its own dedicated plastic protective molded case. I was sort of expecting it to be attached to cardboard or something like the One Piece prize figures we saw earlier. In terms of pieces, her forearms with the guns come separate, and her base is an absolute game changer for me, with it being as close to the design of her Zafkiel Spirit Clock for a prize figure. On first look, oh my god, she just stands out so much and looks absolutely amazing. I have no regrets and so glad I got baited. The quality of everything is really nice for a prize figure. In general, I love her design, and the face and especially her eyes are spot on. For those that are curious, yes, she is wearing them and it is black. Honestly, I'm really surprised by the detail and quality that Taito put into this figure. The hair, the gun, the dress, the frills, the everything. Can you tell I really love this figure? Anyways, the only complaint, and this is honestly really minor, but she is a tiny bit wobbly, which I only noticed when I was moving her around and trying to figure out where I would put her. Otherwise, I don't think you would ever really notice. Because of her, I am even more excited to see what's in store for the next figure, Toka Yatogami in her spirit form, also from Taito. I actually had already opened this one in Japan, mainly because I was trying to see if I could squeeze in another figure to save space and luggage. But again, I was surprised to see the plastic protective mold, so that didn't really happen. This one comes with a couple pieces, her sword, her custom base, her figure, and also an additional support stick. This also comes with additional assembly instructions, mainly to tell you how to put Sandalphon in her hand and also how to balance her, which was a bit confusing for me because there isn't a dedicated spot on the base for me to put the support stick. So when I was moving her around and filming, it definitely fell a couple times, and honestly, it still felt very wobbly. Unfortunately, this one came with a bad paint job. It was on the hair and face, so it's very noticeable. I tried cleaning with a wipe, so it did help a little bit, but as you can see, it's still visible. Besides that, she looks amazing. I think her eyes could probably be a little bit more purple to match the anime, or maybe it's just lighting. There's a good amount of detail and shading on her armor. Her hair isn't just plain purple and actually put in the effort to showcase her light purple highlights, and Sandalphon is nothing to scoff at. Compared to the Kurumi figure, the base is definitely more plain looking. I appreciate that they also didn't just make it plain and added a bit of design on it. It's not amazing, but it's still honestly nice to see that they wanted to do something with her base. I think really the biggest and main criticism I have for this figure is that her dress could probably have a stronger purple shade to it. It's a little too light and close to pink for me. So yeah, here's these two side by side. I love both of these. I would totally recommend them if you're looking for a nice figure and don't want to shell out for more than $30 or something. Even for $40, I maybe would still recommend these if you love any of these characters. Honestly, I gotta give the props to Taito for this one. I think they did really well with these. Moving on, we have another prize figure that I got from a Crane machine featuring Mai Sakurajima from the Rascal Does Not Dream series. It's honestly not too special, but it was something that was played halfway at an arcade, and I could not resist giving it a try. I think I ended up getting this in 2 tries, so it's a big W in my book. In terms of the figure, the general quality is alright, and really more what I was expecting compared to the previous figures unboxed. Mai's face looks fine, but I can't pinpoint exactly where, but it does feel a bit off. Most of the appeal for this figure is just her casual schoolgirl look, with surprisingly a lot of the detail into her sweater and her bag. Up close, you can easily tell a difference in quality, especially in the hair. There's this portion where the paint just isn't applied as well and is a bit off color. Also, at least for this figure, there's this weird etched line along her legs, and her shoes also just looks off. All right, now onto the biggest, most expensive figure I got for this haul. This is the Portrait of Pirates limited edition Bello Betty. This was a surprise purchase for me, actually. We were walking around Akihabara, walked into Mandarake, and saw her at the front of the 7th floor, 8th floor, I forget. But she was priced at 19,000 yen, which comes to around $125, which is unbelievable considering that she is going for almost 30,000 yen for pre-owned on other sites, and definitely more for a brand new one. Turns out the box was quote-unquote damaged, and it was missing the official Toei sticker. I honestly didn't notice the damage they were speaking of, except that the box was bent in slightly in the front, which you can kind of see here. I didn't really care as long as the figure was undamaged, and the savings were far too great that I had to pull the trigger. This figure comes with a pretty simple looking base with some metal rods to solidify and make sure the figure doesn't tip over. It also comes with some customizable face and pose options for her left arm, mainly so you can adjust whether she has her sunglasses on, off, or in the middle of taking it off. The Revolutionary Army flag is huge, as we can see here. At the top, there's a sharp pointed edge, I guess to make it doubly function as a spear. The flag itself is sculpted to look like wind blowing at it, and to add to that effect, there's some subtle light orange and yellow sprays where the creases are. In order to assemble this, we need to take off the end of the pole and then stick it through her right hand, and then just recap it. It isn't a super tight fit, so the flag itself actually rotates without the base, which made me a bit nervous because it did shift the weight a bit that I was being extra careful when trying to place her on her base without it falling. And oh yes, she does look awesome. Here's some shots of the different face options, with the first one with her sunglasses on. Now with her taking it off or on, I'm not really sure. This is actually the face and arm combination that I decided to go with. And then finally, here's a close-up of her bare face and devilish looking hat. In terms of her jacket, on her left side, she has a patch with an N, which I'm actually not sure what it's referring to, and also the Revolutionary Army insignia. It's a bit hard to see, but on the back it also says Pero, which I don't think I ever really noticed in the anime. I think there's a clear night and day between the quality of the scale figures we've seen so far and Bello Betty. Even small details like the bottom of her skirt are textured and painted with a matte feel. She has this glossy, shiny look, which really just stands out. Everything just looks more realistic, if that even makes sense for an anime character. In terms of some negatives, this figure takes up a lot of space. Not just because of the area the flag occupies, but also due to the size of the base. Because of the flag's angle and weight, they had to make the base larger with a small round hole in one corner to hold the flag in place. It's also a bit awkward because she's posed at almost a 45-degree angle relative to the front of the base. When you look at it straight on, you don't get a full frontal view. On its own, it looks fine, but it makes positioning it with other figures tricky. I think this is the best position, but as you can see, I had to tilt and angle it a bit. I definitely think that for $125, this was definitely well worth it. I think it looks a lot better than some other figures in this price range, like the semi-recent Shanks one. I think now having unboxed it and seeing the awkward size it takes up, I definitely wouldn't get it for the current market price of 30,000 yen, especially when there are other better Portrait of Pirate figures at that price range, such as the ones in the WA Maximum line like Yamato, Zoro, and Doflamingo, which, by the way, make sure to check out my Zoro unboxing. I would definitely recommend those over Bello Betty if you're going to pay that much for it anyways. Moving on, I got a bunch of Damboard or Dambos. If you've seen my other video, you'll know that I love this guy. These are two small and cheap figures that I found in Mandarake, this time in Nakano Broadway. The white one is a Japan Post variation, and the other one is a Mikan or Tangerine Box variation, I believe from the Ehime prefecture. There's so many other designs out there for different box things, so maybe I'll eventually collect them all. I think this is just one of those things that Japan is really good at in terms of making silly, random mascots and making you fall in love with them. There's not much for me to say beyond that. So, Here's another one, also from Mandarake in Nakano Broadway. This guy is a bit larger, and this version is called the Very Well Done Edition. I don't know, I didn't name it. This one's a bit different as it additionally contains the head of Miura Hayasaka in the Yotsuba story, which you can attach to the body instead of the box head. I don't care about having his head there, so I'm just going to show y'all real quick and then put that back in the box. With all the Dawnboard figures so far, there's actually a switch on the side which you can toggle on and off to light his eyes up. You just have to open up his head up from the bottom and stick in some batteries. So here's a side-by-side look of all three of them. I like that you can adjust his arms a bit so we can kind of get creative with how silly you want these guys to look. But wait, there's more! Yeah, now it's getting a little ridiculous, huh? So at the Mandarake that I bought the Bello Betty in Akihabara, there unfortunately was this unopened Nendoroid version of Dawnboard. It's silly, stupid, and honestly overpriced, but man, I had fully committed to collecting my precious Dawnboard at that point, and yeah, of course I had to pull the trigger. Again, he is literally as simple as it looks. Unlike most other Nendoroids, there really isn't any additional faceplates or anything to customize him with. Really, like the other Dawnboard figures, he has a spot to put batteries in and light his eyes up. He's also a little bit more flexible and can do more unique poses because of the Nendoroid stand. But yeah, there's not much else going for him. So, was it worth it? Probably not, but I'm okay with it. So yeah, here's the full look of all the Dawnboards that I got. I promise, this one was actually the last one that I got from this haul. No additional tricks or surprises. Alright, these next couple figures I got from Nakano Broadway. As you'll see, these are ones that don't have any boxes, and this is because we got them from these shops where figure owners can rent out a small display box, put anything in there, and price it on their own. So I got this somewhat unique Luffy figure for 5,500 yen or $35. I believe the original one is a King of Artists figure. I was really drawn to the manga-esque look and sort of additional painting. I'm a big fan of Mamon, and unfortunately I don't have any artistical skills, so at least for that price I thought this was going to be the closest I could get. Because this figure wasn't brand new or came with some protective wrapping, I definitely was a bit more anxious about transporting this back, but seems like it came back all in one piece. I love this look and heavily inspired by Mamon to make a manga-esque background just so I feel like it'll pop out even more. I still need to figure out how I want to do that, but hopefully it won't look too stupid. Next, this BB figure is part of the One Piece Flag Diamond Ship series by Ben Presto. I believe this is now discontinued, and so figures from this series have just skyrocketed in price. I found BB for 3,000 yen or $20 without a box, which is completely fine given the aftermarket prices. I mostly wanted to get her because I already have 3 other Flag Diamond Ship figures that I got many years ago, so she's going to help with round out the collection. For a prize figure, she looks really cool and awesome. I don't know, she's not the greatest quality, but she looks amazing with the other Flag Diamond Ship figures. The 2 main ones I'm missing now are Reiju and Perona, which, my god, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna have to luck into finding one used for an affordable price. Finally, this last one is just a bunch of Bartholomew Kumas. This was just purely a, wow, this looks funny, I'm not gonna think about it, purchased for me. I have a couple other figures, but they're not too particularly interesting, so I'm just going to quickly display them here along with some additional photos that I took during my trip. It was really fun and definitely look forward to going back again. So overall, I think for all the figures, we ended up paying around 50,000 yen, so around $320. It's a lot, but at the same time, I am really pleased with the haul. It's safe to say that our luggage was very full coming back. I would say my top 3 from this haul are the Tokisaki Kurumi one, the Bello Betty, and the Luffy one. Alright, so which ones did you like? What did you think about the haul? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll put the My Figure Collection figure links and the store links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I still got a backlog of unboxings I want to make, so I'll see you next time.